Hello, and welcome to another Behind the Poem story. Today, I'm doing some catch up with some stories. So, I will be giving you the stories that are on the quote from Monday's quote post, but I'm also going to catch up on some of the ones I missed that I didn't manage to record on the week that I posted the quote. So, you get double stories for a couple of weeks until I've caught up on telling you about all my poems that I wrote in my latest collection, Coffee and Paper Cuts. So sorry for the wait. And I'm actually kind of pleased that the one I have to start with my catch up on is the one called Let Them Climb. I guess the reason why I'm glad this is the one I get to start my catch up on is because it's one of my favorites within the collection because it came from a very real place. Let Them Climb kind of combines all of my personalities, all of the sides of myself. Because if you've watched some of my videos before, you know that I am a secondary school English teacher, and I spend my days trying to convince teenagers of the relevancy of poetry, of the importance of studying classic literature. And I think that all of those things are important, but this is probably one of the the basis of this poem is probably one of the more famous poems in all existence. It is a rewrite of the classic Hamlet speech, where he's talking about the value of life and how the pointlessness of existence, or the kind of development of whether or not it is better to continue to fight and go against your enemies, or to just go softly into that good night and go to sleep. um, I believe I've always had an affection for a lot of the kind of more famous, more interesting, good speeches within Shakespeare, as well as some of his lesser known speeches that I get to do with my students. Um, but this Hamlet speech, this debate on the value or lack thereof for certain actions or behaviors, has always kind of intrigued me. Um, I know it's with the indecisive Hamlet in the play, but for me, it spoke to me of this option of actively doing something or passively accepting what is. And so when I decided to kind of rewrite it, I had it in front of me, and I wanted to make sure that I changed um, enough of it to really get through the idea or emotion that I was feeling, the thing that I was obsessing over. And of course, for me, that do I continue or do I not continue is about dating. And I know that anyone who is suffering from singlehood has a similar kind of feel to these things these days. Um, I idea of the value of dating and how do we go about it. So obviously, when you are single and young, whether it's as a teenager in school or at university, or as a young adult when you're first starting out with work, the places that you meet people are in your classes, they're in your modules at university, they're in your lectures or your seminars, they're in the workplace. And so these are the places where we tend to find a partner, and it either works or it doesn't work. We also find partners out when we're, going clubbing or at a bar or at a restaurant or anywhere where we're out socializing with large groups of people, where some are together and some are single. And then obviously the people who are single get together or not. For me, the difficulty is that I was with someone. I did all the dating as normal, and then I was with someone married for a long time. And when that ended, I had just hit 30. And so then I entered this new frontier, this new world of dating post 30, when everybody else is kind of already together. And anybody who has experienced the new world of dating, even people who are younger and not meeting each other in the traditional ways, understands the terror and horror of online dating, the terror and horror of being set up or running into some random person in the bar or the club has completely changed from what I understand of older times. So Let Them Climb as a poem was an expression of that debate within me. The concept of, like, is this even worth it? Do I even bother? Do I just accept that it's possible I won't meet somebody, and or if I do meet somebody, that they're not going to be worthwhile. Now, originally, online dating for me was great because I'm very busy, full-time education. I don't have time to meet people. I do not date within my school because that just leads to all kinds of different problems than dating outside of school. And so the online dating world seemed like the great option because as a single woman living in a large city, I could safely kind of screen the people I was actually going to meet. It wasn't like when going out to a bar and you meet someone or you're attracted to someone, you start talking and you spend 3 hours of your evening finding out that there's somebody that you never want to see again. So this problem with, meeting people in person and potentially wasting time, or for each other, not just the person, not just me, but the other person. You spend all that time getting to know each other and realizing that you have absolutely nothing in common. And apart from some basic chemical reactions, there's no reason why you should ever see each other again. Um, the idea that you can screen someone and make sure that you actually have enough in common, that you actually, the conversation flows, that you want to meet each other based on pictures and discussions is great. Except there are, of course, the catfish, the people that don't look like their picture, the people that lie, the people that are completely not the same age that they say, or completely not the right type of person for you, that you can't really get on with. Those are all options. And of course, it's very difficult to tell through text conversation when someone's a narcissist or arrogant or already in love with themselves, and so therefore can't get in love with you. The whole concept of dating post 30, and now for me post 40, is just really exhausting. Even online, even getting kind of matched up by colleagues or friends. Oh, I know that I have this friend, I think you would really get on. Now, I don't close off any of those ideas. I still go online dating. I still get set up by colleagues for blind dates, or meet people in parties, or I go out into the real world at restaurants and that kind of thing, and I meet people. But it is just so frustrating that it's so hard to find someone that you want to be partners with. And so Let Them Climb takes that old debate of Hamlet about the value and worth of doing something or continuing to do something, with the danger of insanity, that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So obviously, the power of the speech in its original form matched the power of my frustration with dating and the options available and the different types of people you can meet. I always enjoy meeting together with my friends, both male and female friends, because everybody suffers this. This is definitely not a gender specific thing. It's not all women suffer the horrors of the men on online dating. I have heard some whoppers from my male friends as well as the women that they end up meeting up with. The possibility that, it's just better to stay home with an ice cream tub is one of my favorite lines within it. And this concept that as we get older and as time starts to tick by, that we should kind of lower our expectations or lower our standards so that we're not alone. This idea of, God, why are you still single? It's like, well, because I'm not going to lower my standards or expectations. I want what I want. If I didn't, I would not be single. I could easily partner up with somebody who was less than what I want. And those lines of who would less than bear to cry and worry under a less than love, but that the dread of marching alone till death in the undiscovered country with no eternal love awaiting frightens us and makes us rather bear the one that we have than fly to others more worthy that we know not of. I have absolutely no intention of just accepting someone who is not who I want. I'm one of those people, and I have reached that stage, past all of these barriers, past all of this endless effort of not accepting what I don't want just to avoid being by myself. And I encourage anybody who of any age who is going through that dating to come to that realization. You don't have to put up with somebody or deal with somebody who is less than you deserve just to avoid being alone. There are complicated relationships. There are people who are dealing with more complicated relationships than I do, where there's property involved, or when there's family involved, or when there's children involved. All of those complications mean that it's not always so easy to hold the line in terms of what you deserve in a relationship. But I would encourage you to like think about it and let them climb to you. Let whether you're a man or a woman, and this whole crazy world of dating, let them earn it. Let them treat you as you deserve, and you treat them as they deserve, and everybody will be a lot happier. I'm comfortable in that decision. I'm comfortable with my frustration with online dating. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, but I'm happy that I'm in a place where, you know what? Let them climb. Let them do the work. I will work right back as soon as I meet them, but honestly, I'm not going to deal with them. I'll just stick at home with the ice cream tub rather than deal with a narcissist or a liar. So I hope that anyone who is into kind of classic literature finds this entertaining. I hope that Shakespeare is not turning in his grave. I hope that lots of people who are looking for love or who are looking for a relationship find that person before they shuffle off this mortal coil that will treat them well. I'm happy for everyone who is in a relationship they're happy with. Please, 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 if you do have that, value it, because it is rare and wonderful and should be celebrated. So I hope you've enjoyed this catch up with the behind the poem stories on the poem Let Them Climb. And as always, thank you for listening to my rambling. If you like my behind the poem story for Let Them Climb, please check out the other ones for my other collections behind the story poems for Between Hindsight and Foresight, and the behind the poem stories for Chasing Apollo, and of course the ones from earlier in Coffee and Paper Cuts. These stories come from that place where, you know, my students ask me, well, how do we know what the writer intended? Well, this is what the writer intended. What you see is perfectly valid, but this is where my poem came from within me, and I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.